As the flagship SUV in Lexus's portfolio, an all-new version of the LX doesn't come around very often. In fact, the previous generation was so old that you could trace its lineage back to the mid-2000 era. So an all-new version doesn't come around very often, but as you can see this week, I'm standing by the completely redesigned 2022 Lexus LX 600. Now, I already had a chance to drive this vehicle out at the Media Drive in New Mexico a few months ago. However, this week, the company has loaned me an LX 600 with the luxury package, which means it has all the usual luxury and tech features that an LX buyer is most likely going to choose from if they're going to purchase one for themselves. So in this video, we're going to put it through our usual battery of tests. We're going to live with the car for the week. I'm actually going to take it on a 400-mile road trip to New York City, and we're going to find out, has Lexus done enough changes to this vehicle to make it worthy to carry on the flagship SUV nameplate for Lexus? Stay tuned to find out. Hey guys, I want to interrupt this review to give a brief shout out to the sponsor of this video, Keeps. Now, what exactly is Keeps? Well, they're an online subscription service that provides doctor-recommended hair loss treatment plans. Because they are online, they offer 24/7 support and proven results. I should know because I've been using Keeps for well over 2 years, and let me tell you, it's one of the best products out there that allows you to keep the hair that you still have left on your head. The other great thing about it for me is the fact that it's so easy to fit into my daily routine. Every day in the morning, I take this really small pill once in the morning, and then twice a day, once in the morning and once at night, I use this mousse in my hair. And like I said, it's just super easy to fit into my daily life. So what are you waiting for, guys? Hair loss stops now with Keeps. And in order to save up to 50% off of your first order, be sure to go to www.keeps.com/redline, or you can simply just click in the link in the description below. And now, let's get back to the video. So before we start talking about the exterior styling changes this year, I want to remind you guys what's powering the LX. Because this is an all-new generation that's based on the all-new generation Tundra, it shares the same 3.4-liter twin-turbocharged V6, which means the V8 engine is gone. So for you purists out there, that might be a sad day. However, this engine is a modern engine. It's a 3.4-liter twin-turbo direct injection V6 that makes 409 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. That's an increase of basically almost 30 horsepower over the old V8 and like an extra 70-ish pound-feet of torque. So those are impressive numbers. It all goes out through a 10-speed automatic transmission, so 2 more gears versus the previous generation. Lexus did this, of course, to improve fuel economy, to improve performance, and they certainly have achieved that goal because this vehicle is rated to get 17 in the city and 22 on the highway. That's a huge improvement over like the 14, 19 that you got from the previous generation. Now, sadly, Toyota does offer a hybrid version of this powertrain, but it's not available in the LX. I suspect it's because the Middle Eastern market on which this vehicle was designed primarily for, they wanted the off-road capability, and the hybrid would have added cost, complexity, and of course weight, which is all your enemies when you're going off-roading. This vehicle is still a body-on-frame SUV. It'll tow a maximum of 8,000 pounds, and because of its on this new structure, Lexus was able to reduce the weight by almost 300 pounds. As this one sits, it weighs in at around 5,600 pounds. Lexus claims 0 to 60 should be around 6.9 seconds. We've got our testing equipment, so we'll find out if that's truly the case when we strap this vehicle to the equipment and drive it out on the road. In terms of the top speed, Lexus claims this will hit a top speed of around 130 miles an hour, which I imagine most of you won't even try, especially out on public roads. But closing the hood, let's go ahead and talk about the styling of this vehicle. You can see it's instantly recognizable as an LX. In fact, if you guys have the previous generation, you park it next to this new one, you might not even notice it's new because the styling changes are so evolutionary. Lexus made so many refreshes to the old one that they added the spindle grille like 5 years ago that this new version doesn't almost look new, but you really have to stare at it a little bit closer because this particular one here that I'm showing you is atomic silver with a luxury package. You can see it has the standard triple beam premium LED headlights where it has 3 individual LEDs. You have a LED daytime running light, LED turn signal. No fog lights on this vehicle, but you can see the Lexus grille here is bright silver. Now, you can get a package to paint the grille black if you spec in like a $1,200 appearance package. I actually think that you should probably do that, especially if you get the white exterior. They also offer this beautiful nori green. If you guys go for the F Sport model, you'll get rid of all of these horizontal slats and you'll replace it with intricate L's that create a mesh finish in the grille and on the lower front fascia. Some of the vents that you see are functional. The F Sport model definitely looks good, but I think this is probably going to appeal more to the traditionalist buyer. So I probably would actually end up skipping the F-Sport package, just adding that appearance package to kind of black out everything. Now the luxury model sits basically one notch below the ultra luxury. The ultra luxury looks basically like this on the outside, but it only seats 4 because it deletes the third row and it gives you captain's chairs in the back seat. It's like a limousine package. This model here basically includes the 22-inch wheels, the Mark Levinson sound system, the upgraded audio system, our infotainment system. I really like the wheels on this car. You can see these are the 22-inch wheel which have a machine finish. It's got multiple spokes. It's got black inner pockets. The brakes are 13 inches in the front and actually larger, almost 14 inches in diameter at the rear. These are twin piston calipers. And you can see you've got 265 50 series R22 Dunlop tires. The fact that Lexus slapped on a 22 on this vehicle really shows that it's really meant for the street. All LXs, most of them are going to come with an adaptive variable suspension. My tester has, for an extra $2,000, I believe, the adjustable hydraulic height suspension. So you can raise and lower this vehicle, and I believe the top ground clearance is just under 11 inches. Right now it's in its normal setting, so you have right around 8.5 inches. This vehicle still rides on that 112.2 inch long wheelbase. That's what Land Cruisers have always had. Lexus claims it's the ideal length for off-roading. That shorter wheelbase compared to the competition means that the interior space is going to be compromised, but at 201 inches long, this is about a foot shorter than most of the competitors from Lincoln, from Cadillac, from Jeep, from the Grand Wagoneer. This is about the same size as the new Land Rover Range Rover, which I haven't had a chance to test. The Range Rover short wheelbase is about 2 inches shorter than this. The long wheelbase is about 7 inches longer versus this car. But you can see the side mirrors have an integrated turn signal in them. You have chrome window trim, which apparently the appearance package doesn't black that chrome window trim out. The roof rails also are low profile. There is no panoramic roof on this vehicle, just a standard sunroof. So that's kind of a ding if you guys are looking for that feature. Apparently the Middle Eastern market didn't want it. And then looking at the rear here, you can see it's got that new design language here with the Aero Blade, full-length LED taillight, LED turn signal, the Lexus brand spelled out at the back, also with the LX600, which means it doesn't have a V12, it just has that twin-turbo V6. And then down here on the rear lower diffuser, you can see if you got the tow package, you'll have that hitch in the center, no visible exhaust tips whatsoever. Now, opening up the cargo area, Lexus also did get rid of that split folding tailgate, which I know some of you are going to miss. However, they did that for weight savings and complexity savings. And then we can see here with the third row seat up, which this vehicle does seat 7, the space back here is pretty useless. This is the whole reason why you want to buy a Sequoia or something like a Lincoln Navigator or Escalade, because Lexus didn't even say what this space is behind the third row. It is practically non-existent. I'd say it's probably like around 8 cubic feet of space. That is horrible, especially when you plan to carry 6 or 7 people in this car. You can obviously fold down the third row, and when you fold down the third row, it expands it out significantly. You can see they did add a power folding third row feature, which is great. They did that by adjusting the way the rear suspension works, and it allowed them to lower the floor, even though this is a body-on-frame vehicle. And when you lower that third row, it expands it out to around 44 cubic feet of space. Lower the second row, and it goes up to just under 70 cubic feet of space. So that's decent numbers, but it's way behind the competition. Something like the Navigator, Escalade, and Jeep Grand Wagoneer, they offer right around 90 to 100 cubic feet of total storage space. So that's something to keep in mind if you guys plan to actually use this to carry cargo. Looking underneath here, there is a very, very tiny storage area over here, but at least what you'll find underneath the truck, under here, is a full-size matching spare tire, which is definitely great if you plan to take this vehicle off-roading. So let's go ahead and move on to the inside of the completely redesigned Lexus LX. Now, first of all, I want to show you guys the key fob for the vehicle. You can see this is the current Lexus key fob. No remote start on the fob. However, you can go into the Lexus interface app on your phone and access the remote start there. You can ping the vehicle, you can check the maintenance and whatnot. I don't have access to it right now, so I can't show you guys that, but I did have access to it in the Lexus NX, so watch my review of that if you want to see that. Now, unlike the NX, however, which had those digital latch door handles, the door handles on the LX are very conventional. I'm actually surprised by that, but also at the same time, I'm not surprised because that's probably what the Middle Eastern market wanted. But as you can see, opening the door, the atomic silver of my tester is complemented by this black interior with the contrasting white stitching. Lexus also offers a gorgeous caramel brown and a salt and pepper white and black look. I would probably go for the salt and pepper white and black look. This black interior is just a little too drab for me. It does include this very tasteful open pore wood that's like a black color that looks good with the contrasting stitching. My tester also has the 25 speaker Mark Levinson sound system, which sounds good, although it's not quite as nice as the Bang & Olufsen and Bowers & Wilkins systems that I've I've heard, or even the Macintosh audio in the Jeep, I think sounds a little bit better. You can see the seats are very nice and supportive. These are 10-way power on the driver's side and 8-way power on the passenger side. They offer 3-person memory on the driver's side, which is nice. You can also get a memory function on the passenger side, but my tester doesn't have that feature. The steering wheel also is tilt and telescoping. These seats are heated and cooled, but they lack a massage, which is a really big ding considering the 6-figure price tag of this car. Now you can see there is a running board here, a nice grab handle, so you can kind of help yourself get in, or you can also lower the vehicle with the adjustable suspension that my tester has from a button right here. But getting inside and closing the door, this vehicle does have soft closing doors, which is expected in this segment. You can see the door kind of automatically shuts, or I can kind of close it myself. And when you slam it, it has a nice solid sounding thunk, which is what you expect with a vehicle in this segment. Now, turning the car on, you can see the start stop button is mounted up pretty high. It's easy to see, but it's also in a really weird position. It took a little bit of getting used to for me, but after spending a week with it, I did start to get used to the location of it. But turning the vehicle on, you can see the tech in this car. You've got 3 displays here. There are 3 separate screens. There's a 7-inch display here in the instrument panel, which is on the small side. You know, even vehicles like from Hyundai and Kia on the lower end have a full 12-inch display. Really confusing to see a small display here in a $100,000 Lexus. You have a 12.3-inch display here that has their new Lexus interface system. You can see the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto already came up, which is nice. And then you have another 8-inch display over here that the Middle Eastern market really wanted. This allows you to kind of go in and see the status of the vehicle. It has a G meter there. It shows your brake and accelerator. You can also go into your climate here. The graphics actually look pretty good. You can also change the color and increase the brightness, but the dual screen layout I don't think was necessary. I would have preferred Lexus give us like a 15-inch screen over here and gotten rid of this, but it does kind of go with the way this cabin was designed. It's got really nice materials. So let's talk about the door panels. This is a soft touch injection molded plastic, although at this price it should be stitched in leather. Like the wood, I like the aluminum door handle, nice and padded over here. The window controls feel really expensive, and they have a nice satisfying click. Feel a little bit more expensive versus, you know, any other Toyota product, obviously. The steering wheel is power tilt and telescoping. It's got actual wood on the wheel, which is nice. The horn sounds appropriate given the size of the vehicle. You can see the airbag cover doesn't have leather over it, but I do like the Lexus logo over here with the kind of dark chrome that you get on the steering wheel itself. The steering wheel itself is heated, and you have your controls for the audio, for the Lexus Safety System 2.5, and you can also adjust the way that screen looks by pushing this button here. You can kind of change the way this looks here, and it also changes when you change the drive mode selector. You can see it goes to like a white display when you go to Sport or Sport Plus. The dash has real soft touch injection molded plastic here with some faux stitching. There is real stitching down here on the lower part of the dash. It's even down here as well, which is nice. There's some aluminum look trim. I don't believe this is real aluminum, but you do get more of that dark wood trim here, which is nice. You have tri-zone climate control. Your drive mode selector is over here. You can also push this button here. It'll go into a multi-terrain select, where you can adjust it between automatic, dirt, sand, mud, and deep snow. Again, with 22-inch wheels, you're probably not going to be doing that. There's also downhill assist control and their crawl control, which is their off-road cruise control. So it's all really easy to use. The 4-wheel drive system on this car is a full-time system. It does have a center locking diff, which is definitely nice if you're going to be taking this vehicle off-roading. Over here you can see you've got 2 USB charge ports, heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel. Like I said, this controls the 10-speed auto. It's a traditional shifter. Put the vehicle in reverse. You can see there's the top-down 360 camera with parking sensors and rear cross traffic alert. The graphics look good, but they don't offer that full 360 perimeter scan where I could kind of swipe around the vehicle. That's something that you get in a lot of the European competitors, although there is a view button here that you can push, which does give you a perimeter scan, but this view, the graphics are a little cheesy. It's basically the same that you find in any other Toyota product. Over here you can see you can adjust the trip computer. Your heads-up display is also over there, which looks decent. Your start, stop, defeat button is all the way over here. There's also some empty buttons here considering how expensive this car is. That's a little annoying to see. Nice little storage cubby over here, which is great for hiding a few things. You have your cup holders over here, your adjustable air suspension, your center diff lock is right here. You can see turn off the traction controls over here. And then there's a wireless phone charging pad over here, which apparently if you guys go for the ultra luxury, the rear will include a wireless phone charging pad, but it deletes the one in the front, so that's an interesting omission. This is a nice padded area over here. Open this up, you can see the cool box or the refrigerator gets really ice cold. I was actually keeping some drinks in here ice cold on my road trip. It feels really nice, but this takes up in your center console storage space, but this is great for road trips. The leather on the seats is really comfortable, supple. The bolstering is good. The heated and ventilated seats work really nicely. The glove box you can see is a bin style. It's damped but not lined with felt. It's a good size. And then over here you can see no woven material for the headliner and just a standard sunroof. No panel roof is available. You do have LED lighting in this cabin, which is nice. My tester is missing the digital camera rearview mirror, which I believe you get on the ultra luxury package. It's a little annoying to see it's missing on this car considering the price, but overall the cabin gives you a nice commanding view of the road. You can see out of it really well. The luxury materials in here are nice, but not the nicest anymore. The tech is perfectly fine, but it just doesn't wow you that the way that the Cadillac does or the Jeep does with all of the screens. But if you prefer more simple, this is certainly going to deliver on that, and it feels really well built. So that's something that Lexus LX buyers are really going to appreciate. Checking out the back seat of the Lexus LX, this is their flagship SUV, but it's also not the one that you want if you actually need to carry adults in the back seat in the third row. I'll explain why. Before we do that, let's talk about the door panel. You can see it has really nice materials, same from the front. There's also a manual sunshade here if you want to block out the sun or get a little bit more privacy. More piano black plastic trim, more of that wood, and you can see the door panel is soft touch even coming down to the lower portion. If you guys are looking for captain's chairs, the Lexus LX doesn't offer that, so you only get this bench across, which means you can seat up to 7 people, or you can also replace this area here with captain's chairs if you guys go for the ultra luxury package, which has like an ottoman. That's designed really to be like a chauffeur and to be driven around by a chauffeur if you'd like. But these seats you can see are plush, they're comfortable, they're also heated and ventilated. I wasn't expecting that. But getting inside, you can see the space back here is not amazing, but once I get back here, there's around 38 inches of legroom back here. No completely flat floor here. There is a hump that's going to intrude on your center passenger, but you know, for such a large vehicle, that shorter wheelbase really shows how the legroom back here is compromised. The seat itself doesn't slide forward and back, but it does offer a slight recline function, and you can also move the seat forward if you'd like. My tester for $2,000 has the rear seat entertainment package. So you have 11.4-inch screens, 2 of them here with an HDMI hookup. You can see this kind of mirrors what you have from the front of the vehicle. It's a touchscreen, which is nice. The screen graphics look good. You can kind of also adjust your different settings back here. You can also use the wireless headphones to actually watch this. You'll have to get the wireless headphones from the dealership. But this is a nice option, although I suspect most owners are going to skip this because a lot of kids just have tablets nowadays to actually watch movies. But down here you can see rear seat climate control. You have your own set of rear seat climate control. It's actually a quad zone system. I said 3-zone earlier, but it's actually a quad zone. You have heated and cooled seats, which is really nice, unexpected. You can see down here, there's 2 USB-C charging ports. There's a jack there if you want to use a wired connection for the headphone and the HDMI port. You can see that flips up and hides when you don't want it to be showing. There's 2 storage pockets over here, and then if you need to just have 2 back here, there's a nice armrest that folds down and gives you 2 cup holders. So overall, the second row is definitely usable. It's just not the most spacious. Most competitors offer like over 40 inches of legroom back here. But let me go ahead and get into the third row of this vehicle, which you can do by pushing this button right here. You can see once I push that button, this seat does kind of flip forward. It took a second. I was trying to figure out what it was going to do. But once you do that, you can see getting back here, the third row is definitely reserved for kids. It doesn't have the adult-friendly space that you get in like a Lincoln Navigator or a Jeep Grand Wagoneer. But once I get back here, so you can see that body on frame really does limit the floor or the leg space down here. The floor is definitely higher up. So at 5'7", my knees are kind of up in the air. There could be room for a third person here, but Lexus just decided to make it a 2 jump seat style. You can see the seats themselves are very narrow. For wider American frames, you're not going to find this comfortable whatsoever. There is a button here where you can adjust the recline of the seat electrically, so that's kind of nice. There's also a USB-C charging port. You do have some rear seat air vents back here and some LED lighting. This window here does let you see a little bit, but overall, like, this is not wonderful, but it is kind of usable. But just keep in mind, that's the cargo space behind there. So if you plan to actually carry 6 or 7 people in this car regularly, there is no room for their stuff. You're just going to have to make a choice between either having stuff, but most of you are probably going to have this rear seat folded. You can use it for average size or shorter adults, but again, there are way better options if you want more third row space. So here we are in the brand new, completely redesigned 2022 Lexus LX 600. Now, the last time I had a chance to drive this vehicle, I was out in New Mexico for the very short media drive. I spent most of my time in the F Sport model, so now we're in the luxury version. This is the higher end version without like the adaptive variable suspension that comes standard in the big Lexus spindle grille with all the intricate L's. This one here is designed probably more for the typical LX buyer. Remember, this is a Toyota Land Cruiser in Lexus drag. We don't have the Land Cruiser in the US anymore, and it's now been moved to that new platform. It has a much stiffer frame, it's got a redesigned suspension, and it's also got a new engine, which is shared with the Toyota Tundra and the Lexus LS. So I've had a lot of experience with the old Toyota Land Cruiser and the Tundra with that 5.7, so I'm really excited to get behind the wheel of this model with its 3.4 liter twin turbo V6. Now, first impressions, just like when I first drove this car, you have that solid king of the road feel that you get with this body on frame chassis. This vehicle primarily wasn't designed for the US market, and it kind of shows because the interior doesn't feel as roomy. You definitely don't get the trunk space or the third row seat space that you find from like a Lincoln Navigator or a Cadillac Escalade or the new Jeep Grand Wagoneer. But that's okay, because this vehicle delivers something else that I think a lot of other people are going to appreciate. Now, the first thing I do want to test out is the 0 to 60 performance. Lexus claims 6.9 seconds for this car, and I want to see what this vehicle can do. So I turned off the traction control. We have it in Sport Plus right now. And let's go ahead and see what this car can do. Really crisp shifts. 5.8 seconds, that is very quick. That's actually 1.1 seconds faster, over a second faster than the Lexus claims of 6.9. So that's really good performance. That's actually better than what I was expecting. I mean, I know Lexus tends to be a little optimistic with their 0 to 60 performance, but it's great to see that. That is on a more level surface. So I think performance-wise, people are going to be happy, because some people are probably concerned with the demise of the V8. You're not going to miss it, because this engine has the smoothness that you expect. It has the refinement. It has the torque delivery. It's got a ton of mid-range torque, and I think that's what people are going to really appreciate. And it's paired with a 10-speed auto that is the perfect partner for this engine. It's just a really refined combination, and it's what you expect from a vehicle that wears this badge. Let's try it one more time here. Really great first to second shift there. 6.1 seconds here. This is with it going slightly uphill, so 5.8 seconds is really, really respectable. I think that Lexus nailed the powertrain tuning of this vehicle. It's just smooth, it's refined, and it also gets significantly better gas mileage, which I actually had a chance to drive this vehicle out on a 400-mile road trip to New York City for the auto show. And let me tell you, it was comfortable, it was smooth. It averaged around just under 20 mpg in that highway drive, which means you get around 400 miles on a full tank, which is not wonderful. The gas tank is only 21 gallons. This requires premium gas, but that smaller fuel tank means you're not going to spend too much to fill it up, or quite as much to fill it up at the pump. But in the city, I got around 17 mpg, which is a 3 mpg improvement over the previous generation. Still not great. If this vehicle was a hybrid, it'd be much better. But overall, on this road here, where primarily Lexus LX owners are going to drive, I mean, yes, you could take this vehicle off-roading. It delivers a solid ride quality. My tester does have the adaptive variable suspension, and I also have the active height control hydraulic suspension, which means that's an extra $1,500 charge, and you can raise and lower the vehicle with the touch of a button. I have it in Sport Plus right now. The steering gets a little bit more firm, and you do notice the ride gets a little bit firmer in this setting. It's still not stiff. This car isn't sporty. It doesn't feel sporty whatsoever. The steering is now that electric power steering assist. Lexus was able to add their Lexus Safety System 2.5, which is a huge improvement over the old LX, which just had the old system, which was horrible. But putting my foot down here, you can feel the full-time four-wheel drive system in this car kind of bucks a little bit. The suspension gets wallowy, but plenty of grunt here. Solid mid-range grunt, and I love this 10-speed auto. It's just a great partner. It also has paddles on the wheel and a manual mode here, but you'll never use it. It's just there to show that you have manual control. When I start pulling the paddles, it doesn't really rev match all that great, and then if I pull the right paddle to upshift, it's really slow to upshift. So definitely not a sporty vehicle, but it kind of gives you that control that you want, and that's what you expect in a vehicle like this. You want to have that kind of control, especially with the transmission and being able to take, choose which gear you want to be in, especially if you plan to tow with this vehicle. It will tow 8,000 pounds, but kind of just going around tighter streets, the turning radius is fine. This car doesn't offer any kind of four-wheel steering, but it does have a turn assist when you're off-roading, where you can lock the rear wheels. It'll drag it and kind of will help you at low speeds when you're turning, but that only works when you're off-roading. But overall, the seats are comfortable. The interior is really quiet. The visibility is good. The driver assistance tech works well. On my highway cruise in this vehicle, it does do a good job of lane keeping, or keeping itself centered in the lane. It also has full speed range adaptive cruise control. It's not completely hands-free. That's something that Lexus is working on with Lexus Teammate that you can first get on the LS. This car does not have it. The heads-up display also is a nice touch. The interior, I will ding it, however, because this vehicle has a six-figure price tag and it's missing something as simple as massaging front seats. Now, I suspect massaging front seats are missing because of the chip shortage. You can get massaging rear seats if you guys go for the ultra luxury package, but you have to spend 130 grand basically to get that. But for a vehicle in this price tag, every other competitor offers the massaging seats, and Lincoln even offers massaging seats in the second row as well. So that is kind of a ding on Lexus. The interior itself does feel pretty premium in here. I love the dark wood. I would definitely not go for this black interior color combination. It's just a little too drab for me. Lexus does offer like a brown interior and a cream colored leather, like a salt and pepper look. I would definitely go for that one probably. In terms of the tech, the Lexus interface system here is their latest generation. It's a 12.3-inch display here. It's got wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. You can also take control of it via the app, and you can remote start the vehicle. You can ping the vehicle. This system works pretty well. This screen here, you can kind of adjust it between your climate settings, your settings. You can go to a home screen here that shows the air suspension where it's at. It shows like a brake and accelerator, a G-force meter. This screen, however, here is pretty small. I'm not a fan of the 7-inch display here. I would have liked to see Lexus just go to a full digital display. This is kind of where Lexus is still showing that it's behind. They've caught up a little bit, but you know, compared to the 38-inch curved screen that you get in the Cadillac Escalade, or the 75 inches of total screens that you get in a Wagoneer or a Grand Wagoneer, this does feel a little bit small, but it's also a little bit more simple. So if you prefer something a little bit more simple, this is certainly going to fit the bill. And if you want something with actual off-road capability, assuming you get the right wheel and tire package for it, this is still one of the few ones that can do it. The Grand Wagoneer can go off-road as well, but it's so much bigger than this car, I wouldn't dare to take that Jeep off-roading. So after spending a full week driving the completely redesigned Lexus LX, I think Lexus did a fantastic job with bringing an old school style SUV into the modern era. The powertrain in this vehicle is perfect, especially if you guys love the V8, you're gonna love this twin turbo 6. It gets better gas mileage, it also makes this vehicle quicker. The ride quality is also great, especially when you add in that adaptive hydraulic air adjustable suspension. The sport mode in this vehicle really just adjusts the steering and the transmission tuning. The vehicle itself doesn't feel sporty. The interior has nice tech. I like the new Lexus interface. I like that it has wireless CarPlay, Android Auto. It has over-the-air updates. Although at the same time, the interior for me misses the mark in some key areas. It doesn't have as much space, especially in the cargo area, the third row and the second row that I expect, that Americans, I believe, expect. And for the fact that this car has a six-figure price tag, it's missing massaging seats in the front, and that's just a huge miss for me. I think Lexus seriously needs to add that feature, and I suspect that's something they're going to do once we kind of get past this chip shortage here and they start expanding the features and maybe even the colors and the spectrum that this car can come with. But overall, it does come with the typical compromises that you expect from the Land Cruiser chassis, but again, if you want something with real off-road capability, really it's this and the Land Rover Range Rover, the new one, and the Range Rover is far more expensive. This car is already on sale now, although it's going to be hard to find them on dealer lots, especially with the chip shortage. But the base LX600, the base model, that starts at around $88,000. Lexus claims that model is going to have a very, very low take rate. Most of you are going to spend an extra $10,000 to go for the premium trim. The premium trim gives you most of the luxury touches that you want. My tester here being the luxury version starts at $104,000. It's right above the F Sport model. The F Sport model is like around $102,000. My tester with the extra color charge, the adjustable adaptive suspension, the rear seat entertainment package, and destination stickers for around $107,000. Keep in mind, for an extra 20 grand, you can also add the ultra luxury package that'll include those rear seat captain's chairs with the massaging function. That's like around 130 grand. Now that sounds like a lot of money. It's about the same price as something like the Lincoln Navigator, the Cadillac Escalade, and the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, although the three American offerings are a little bit more expensive, but they're also significantly larger. They don't offer technically the off-road capability that this car has. The Range Rover is also something that starts at around $104,000 for the new one, but it's a Land Rover. You're typically going to spend around $130,000 to $160,000 for the Land Rover. So the Lexus does have a good value proposition, and it's also going to be probably the most reliable option. So if you guys want to buy something like this, you want that ultra luxury, and you want something that's going to last a long time, this is really the only game in town. I suspect it's going to continue to do well, especially since now that the Land Cruiser is gone, you can basically spec in a Lexus LX that almost looks like a Land Cruiser, especially with the 18-inch gray finish wheels, and that's probably one that the enthusiasts are going to go for. Me, I really like the way this car is spec'd out, but I would add the appearance package to it, and I'd also get it in the Nori green color. It'll be right around $108,000, which is, again, a lot of money, but something that's this dependable, that's this capable, that's this luxurious is going to be a little bit hard to find, and it's still cheaper than most of its options, as long as you're okay with that smaller cargo area and that smaller passenger compartment. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2022 Lexus LX 600. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.